Hi YouTube, today we're going to be looking at a Smith and Wesson revolver. We're going to be looking at a Smith and Wesson 586 357 Magnum. And before we get too far into it, I'm going to show you that this 357 Magnum has no 357 Magnum ammunition in it. So if you're concerned about being hurt and getting shot through a video camera, you are safe and you can continue watching. So this is a 586 no dash, and no dash meaning this is one of the very first ones made. Smith and Wesson puts dashes in their model numbers to distinguish when they made changes in production and stuff like that, and this is before they added any dash. The 586 came out in 1980, and this gun was made somewhere between 1980 and 1986. I do not know how to tell what year Smith & Wessons were made. I've never put that much effort into figuring it out, but somewhere between 1980 and 1986 is when this one was made. 1986 they added the dash 1 to it, and this is a no dash. I will show you if I can get it to focus the serial number, and if anybody wants to look it up and tell me what year it was made, that would be cool. If not, it really doesn't matter that much to me. So this gun came out in 1980. This was the answer to the famous Colt Python, and this is a L frame, which is Smith & Wesson's medium frame revolvers, for those of you who know the Smith & Wesson alphabet. And this was their answer to Colt Python. They added a full underlug to it, made it a little bit heavier frame than the K frame, and chambered in 357 Magnum. And they put these walnut grips on it. They put a target hammer on it. They put adjustable sights for wind and elevation. This one has a red ramp on the front of it, and they offered it in blue finish for the 586. And they offered it in stainless in the 686. And I have another video showing you my 686 no dash. It is identical to this one, except for it's a stainless finish and this one's a blue finish. That's the only difference in the two. But these revolvers were very well made in the 1980s, and they have an extremely good action to them. The single action on this thing is incredible. The double action is just smooth all the way through. These are some of the finest made revolvers of this time era, and they can be improved by doing an action job on them. And my 686 has had that done to it, so it's a little bit better action than this one. But they called this the Distinguished Combat Magnum. Now, I don't know why they call it that. I don't know if anybody's ever used one of these in combat or not, but I have not. And if I was going to go into combat, this would probably not be my first choice. Probably go get me a Gucci Glock. But just kidding about that. But this is these are very good revolvers. They put serrations on the back strap on them. It doesn't have the horrid internal lock on it. In the mid-2000s, Smith & Wesson made a deal with the Clinton administration, and they added an internal lock that mounted right here on the frame, and it caused a lot of backlash with the American public. Really hurt Smith & Wesson sales and all that, and it seems like from then on the quality kind of went down on their revolver line. But this is before they did all that. So this is what they call a pre-lock revolver. These this one here features the firing pin on the hammer. That's what a lot of Smith & Wesson people look for. I don't know why the Smith & Wesson people prefer the firing pin be on the hammer, but this one does have that. Later on in the production, they changed it over to a frame-mounted firing pin. This is before they did that. This gun here has a color case hardened hammer and a color case hardened trigger. I've seen them with both. I do not know what their rhyme or reason for adding them on. My 686 that was made probably about the same year as this one does not have a color case hardened hammer and trigger on it. So if anybody knows what that is, leave that in the comments. That I actually am curious on. Now, they made this gun from 1980 until 1999. Then they stopped making the 586 altogether. They continued to make the 686, the stainless version, until the present day. But they halted the blue version and the nickel version in 1999. Then in 2012, Smith and Wesson released what they call their classic revolver line, and they reintroduced the blue Smith and Wesson 586, and it had the little lock on it, had internal mem parts on it. It's just, in my opinion, I like these older ones a little bit better. They're just a little bit more classic look. I like these walnut grips on them. It's just, they're just a lot more classier looking. The finish is a little bit better on them and all that. But I figured I would show you my Smith and Wesson 586 357 Magnum and 6-inch barrel, and see what everybody thought about it. If you have any questions on this, feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer it. I'm by far not a Smith and Wesson expert, but I do know enough to be dangerous, and I will try my best to answer any questions that you have. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching my video, and you folks have a great day.